Hi, this is Mary, your holistic recovery coach, bringing you intuitive guidance for the week of November 15th. This week, both of my cats have decided to show up. In fact, one of them might knock over the camera right now. There she is. All right, we will be grateful for their presence, and I will begin shuffling. This week, I'm using daily guidance from your angels, oracle cards from Doreen Virtue, an oldie but a goodie. As always, this is intended for whomever stumbles upon this video, for all of my subscribers, and in particular, I always speak with themes that are geared towards people in the recovery communities, or if you're just healing from anything, which, let's face it, who today isn't healing from something, at least the stresses of the current world. Let's give it a little spread here. I don't know if you can see this, because Razzle has decided to grace us with her presence right in front of the camera. But I just spread out the cards. I'm going to use my intuition to pull two. Let's see, we're going to do this one here. Okay, and one from this side. Here we go. Ah, interesting. Okay. Wow, cool. So I sense that there's just two cards for us this week. The two that I just pulled are Opportunity to Forgive. I don't know if you can see this, so what I'll do is I will, as usual, put it up on the screen for you. I'll edit that in later. Opportunity to Forgive, and a card that's called Energy Work. Beautiful cards. I will put them both up as I speak about them. First off, Opportunity to Forgive. If we look at this card, there are koala bears on it. I wish that I knew the symbolism of koala bears. I'll have to look into that. You know I love my animal symbolism. But it looks like a parent and a child. And then there's the human on the card, who's an angel. And she's just gently touching the little baby koala's paw. This to me speaks of what keeps coming to mind is inner child, doing work on ourselves. So opportunity to forgive things that happened from our past, to let go. Really what's coming to mind too is ACOA, right? Adult Children of Alcoholism, or ACA. That's the recovery community that comes to mind in particular. But really, for anyone watching, everyone can benefit from a little inner child healing work. And what is that about? I mean, really this is speaking to past hurts, old wounds, that whether you acknowledge them or not, they're there and affect us today if you haven't resolved them. And what's the ultimate in healing? Really, you might think acceptance is the ultimate pinnacle, or the ultimate goal in healing. But beyond that is forgiveness. You can accept that something happened to you, but to be able to forgive meaning not try to hang on to blame and judgment about whomever's involved, including yourself. Forgiveness doesn't mean saying that what happened was okay. It doesn't mean letting someone off the hook, per se, for their responsibility and whatever karma or consequences are involved in that. But forgiveness is really about letting ourselves off the hook from holding on to that unforgiveness, because all that does, it doesn't affect the other people whom we might blame or hold resentments towards, or hold accountable for something that was done to us or harmed us. All it does is it doesn't affect them. Us holding on unforgiveness only hinders our health and well-being. True healing at the highest level really is achieved ultimately through forgiveness. And how does one forgive? Well, we've talked in previous weeks, the last couple weeks, what's come up is in 12-step work, the house cleaning steps, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, seeing patterns, looking at these old things, looking at these old really opportunities to forgive. Having seen our part, the other people's parts, and separating those out, working on identifying what we can change in ourselves, and then that opportunity to forgive the other people involved and ourselves for our role in whatever happened. Here comes Razzle. Okay, so beyond the Razzle distraction here, getting back to the opportunity to forgive, this is about being able to get to a point where you're able to, and it's a choice to, free yourself from the unforgiveness. Now, how do you do that? It's releasing those thoughts and feelings, and really the energy of unforgiveness, which is really an energy that keeps us in victim mode. If we're hanging on to things that we're not willing to forgive, and really forgiveness is about just making a choice to move forward and not hang on to those feelings of unforgiveness. Again, it's not letting someone off the hook. It's not saying, hey, what you did to me is okay. It's saying that I'm not going to let it continue to hurt me by carrying this unforgiveness forward in my, mind and body and spirit, because it's really not healthy for us. So how do we do that? It's interesting because the card says, we'll help you release unforgiving thoughts, feelings, and energies, and lift you to a higher place of peace and compassion. peace and compassion. Sounds like promises, right? Sounds a little bit like the 10th step too, which comes after the house cleaning steps. And bringing that spirit of compassion to others. When we do that type of introspective process, like I've talked about the past couple weeks, so forgive me, I keep talking about it, but forgive me, pun intended, it keeps coming up because we're in it, right? And here comes Prince Bean, who also wants to be part of the reading today. Wonder what that's about. There's some stormy energy going on right now, so they could just be acting up because of that. And as always, bringing some levity to our recordings. So having done that step work, or that introspective work or healing work on yourself, where you come to a place where you can see not only what your motives were, that there were fears behind them, there's reasons why you maybe behaved in ways that you see don't serve you anymore and that you don't want to do anymore, but also that other people, just like you, might be operating from a place of fear and not malintent all the time. It's the old hurt people reminder. When we come from that perspective, then we can have compassion, not only for ourselves, but for others. So if forgiveness is a tough word for you for whatever reason and you feel like you're not there yet, you might want to think about compassion, and compassion just meaning being willing, let's just say even just being open to the idea that whomever has hurt you, or you've perceived that you've been hurt by people in the past, that they too have reasons why they behave that way that have nothing to do with you and everything to do with things that happen to them and their own traumas, their own experiences, their own unhealed wounds. And the best we can do to break the cycle is to heal ourselves from these things and not continue to move forward, acting blindly and hurting others by accident. So how do we break that cycle? You might be saying, how do I actually shift to a place of forgiveness? Well, the second card being energy work. If you look at that card, first of all, here we are with like autumn energy again. For me, I see this as transformational energy. The colors, look very, fall-like, autumn-like. I see kind of these deep reds and golds and in between. And here there's some type of maternal, strong, powerful, angelic being over this little infant or small child sleeping. And there's this sense that there's some type of loving, healing, positive transfer of energy going on, almost effortlessly. And that's kind of the idea behind energy work. This card reminds me that everything is energy, and all things hold a certain charge to them. Everything has a frequency, including our emotions. And our mind and our body are connected, and when we experience emotions, and if we don't fully feel them through, or they get stuck because of trauma, our traumatic response to some type of event or situation, they stay with us. We actually don't fully resolve them. So the energy of that experience or those emotions is still affecting our body, our system, our energetic system. And so there are ways to shift that and release that. How are you going to make changes to your energy system? Through energy work, meaning different energy healing modalities, different types of techniques. We're all able to do healing work on ourselves or for ourselves. My cat desperately wants to look out the window right now to see what's going on with this rainstorm we're having. But we all have access to the ability to shift our own energy. But certainly there's many tools out there. Some people have studied energy healing techniques, like I have. Others may be skeptical because they don't understand how this works. So putting this all together, whatever your experience is, or lack thereof, with energy work, my message to you this week is to maybe just be open to it and examine different possible techniques you could use. The one that I find most accessible is called emotional freedom technique. Here we go. Look at the energy between these two right now. Here's the opportunity to forgive, kids. These are brother and sister, by the way, if you couldn't tell. Little sibling rivalry here. So emotional freedom techniques is something that I use personally and professionally with clients, because you can quickly affect the energy system and help people shift from a place of whether it's resentment, limiting belief, grief, old traumas, to a place of healing, to a place of being able to come to a place of peace and compassion, like this card talks about, opportunity to forgive, actually being able to reach that place of forgiveness. And as the energy is building outside, I will put some information in the description and below the video so that you can learn a little bit more about emotional freedom technique. But really, there are many different ways to affect your energy system, but that's a modality from energy psychology. It's been highly studied. Energy psychology is one of the most researched modalities within therapy, any type of psychotherapy, so some therapists use it, but coaches use it as well. I've had advanced training in it as a coach, but you can also access emotional freedom technique from a layperson's level and just use it for some basic calming of your nervous system and starting to access some of that mind-body healing that we're talking about. Always it's best, especially if you have some type of history of trauma. We talked about the ACOA piece in the beginning. If you're not familiar with that, I'll put information on that program as well. Those programs, ACA, ACOA. It's not just for children of alcoholism, it's also for anyone who considers themselves to have grown up in a household or some type of situation where there was some dysfunction on a regular basis, would qualify for or might resonate with the program of ACA or ACOA. There's so much I could say about energy work and energy healing, but I'm really feeling called intuitively with this storm to make this more brief. So I'll cut this down as short as I can. And in summary, this week I want you to focus on opportunities to forgive. And it can be really in small arenas, just in your daily travels. It could be as simple as forgiving the person who cuts you off in traffic. That might sound silly, but at least that's bringing you into that spirit of compassion. Sometimes maybe that person's going through something. Maybe they're having the worst day of their life. Have I ever cut someone off by accident or on purpose? Coming from that spirit of compassion. And then the energy work piece. If you've done any energy work in the past, worked with any type of energy healer or any type of energy modality yourself, maybe look into utilizing that and applying it to anything that's coming up for you right now, where you feel like you're a little bit stuck in your process of actually getting to that point of acceptance and forgiveness with someone or yourself or another situation from your past or present. And if you'd like a little help with that, please reach out to me because I do work with people one-on-one and from a distance primarily, as many coaches and therapists and practitioners do these days, by phone or webcam, to help introduce these techniques to you so that you can start to really learn how to shift your energy yourself. Reach that place of some forgiveness for yourself and for others so that you can be in a more peaceful place. When we're free from holding on to this old unforgiveness, it really frees us up emotionally and energetically and creates space for more positive situations and opportunities to come in. So be open to being able to transform old or current but stuck emotional energy. I do it all the time with people and for myself. Healing is possible. You're worth it. Show up for yourself. Be open to these different new ways of addressing old situations perhaps. I can think of very few people these days that aren't under some deal of stress, and these techniques just for stress management alone are phenomenal. Never mind applying them to old traumas, ACOA issues, other healing challenges. The sky's the limit, recovery is possible, and healing happens. So that's the message for this week of November 15th. If you have any comments or questions, please use the comment section below the video. And I look forward to doing next week's reading and seeing what comes next. Thanks for giving this video a like. There's lightning going on. Embrace the energy. It's powerful. See you next week. Thanks.